In realms long forgotten, there are tales of the Forest Kingdom, a place of honour and chivalry, known to some as the Land of the Purple Dragon, but known to all as Cormyr.
Hi, I'm Tilda, and I'm playing Hiram, a half-orc paladin.
Hi, my name's Carl. I'm playing Katya Donahue, human bard.
Hi, I'm Julia, and I'm playing Badger, a forest gnome monk.
Hi, my name is Anton, and I play Balthazar, a Warforged Cloak of Azuth.
Hi, my name is Al, and I'm playing Slate, a changeling druid.
Hi, I'm Matt, and I'm playing Zumbo, who is a halfling rogue/warlock.
And my name is Dan. I shall be the dungeon master on this adventure. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Yes, this is episode 19 of Cormyr Echoes of War. Last session got a bit dicey, didn't it?
Don't know what we're talking about.
It was fine.
A bit.
No, it was easy.
We did roll a few dice, that's correct.
The Warhounds successfully managed to make it out of Walloon, mostly in one piece. And yeah, now we get to experience something that doesn't happen in D&D very often. You lot get to not fight things. So with a week of downtime to catch up on, shall we all jump in?
Yeah, sure.
They so.
Beautiful. Adventuring can be a taxing and demanding profession. Goodies need saving, baddies need slaying, loot needs looting. The rewards are certainly an attractive draw for prospective adventurers, but there comes a point when a group of adventurers get to kick back, relax, and spend their hard-earned coin. And thus we find the Warhounds, let loose on the unsuspecting city of Arabelle, significantly richer than they were a few days before. Wise philosophers say that devils make work for idle hands, but our adventurers have been keeping themselves more than entertained, whilst waiting for the next step of their adventure to reveal itself. Knowing full well that the civil war continues to wage across Cormyr, we take a moment to see how the Warhounds have taken a moment. The enemies opposed to Cormyr have been biding their time, and soon the Warhounds will be called to action once again.
Yeah, we're not really interested in the Civil War. We're just gonna let it happen, Dan.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a bummer, isn't it, really? So,
Actually,
is,
we're probably gonna be leaving Cormyr. I think that's probably the best thing to do.
So, everyone, yes, a week has passed since we last met the Warhounds, but it would seem that things have not been. You've not been idle in that time. So, first things first. Let's flash to early on in the week. Let's Badger, Hiram. We catch up with you as the two of you are heading from one empty warehouse lot to another. As the two of you have decided to take the sensible route and look at investing into a new premises for Warhounds with your newly acquired coin. So, yeah, Badger, Hiram, who's with you at this present moment in time? Like, who's accompanying you?
Well, Badger's really good friends with one of the other Warhounds from Warhounds Limited, a halfling rat catcher called Maryland. They made good friends in Arc 1. So Badger's probably invited Maryland along as a kind of third set of eyes to look at the places they're scouting out.
Okay. And Hiram?
Hiram would probably only take Emily with him, but he probably left a note for the rest of the Warhounds saying like the previous night saying like, oh, we are doing this, anyone wants to join us, you are more than welcome. And I assume no one turned up because the event eyed bright and early.
There was I can only imagine that there was a communal chorus of, yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you know.
Busy. Sorry. No thanks.
Get my hair done.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, as you're kind of walking through the streets of Arabelle, there's the hustle and bustle of the city around you. Civilians trading, speaking with merchants. You can hear groups of slightly more upper class individuals gossiping about the latest gossip. And as you go, Hiram, you hear like a little voice pipes up from down near your knees. And the brown-haired halfling, Maryland Bottomhill, who used to be Warhound Limited's resident rat catcher, she is kind of like rolling a shoulder out and sort of like tightening the straps on her shoulder pad. As she says, I don't... It just seemed a bit cramped, I mean, you're all rich now, so maybe we can afford somewhere bigger?
I mean, Rich is pushing it a bit, but yeah. I mean, there's not that many of us. We don't need that big a space.
And she looks at you and she kind of like she raises her eyebrows. She gives you a bit of an incredulous look, and you hear Emily kind of snigger. And as you kind of look around, you notice that Maryland is holding one of the platinum coins that you were paid by Varaxis that she's kind of pulled out of your coin purse. And she's like, "Not rich, are you?" she says as she works the coin between her fingers before blink, plonking it back in your coin purse.
Right, perspective, yeah. So we are somewhat rich.
Maybe we shouldn't be looking at warehouses. I mean, it makes sense in the sense that they're big empty spaces, but maybe we can find somewhere that's a bit more comfortable.
So you're making it out onto the main street, and sort of like to your right, up the street, you can see the lady's house, which is the large temple to Tymora, like the main center of Tymoran worship in Cormyr. And you see Marilyn's eyes kind of float down the street to the temple, and then she studies the temple for a moment, and
We are not buying a
slightly
temple.
shakes her head. And then she's like, all right. And then her eyes wander, and you see them kind of fall on the citadel, which is like Arabelle's house of governance. And then she kind of gives you a...
We also definitely can't afford that.
I don't think it's for sale.
Well,
I mean, everything
sure
is for
that-
sale if you have enough money, but that's definitely not something we can afford.
Marilyn clicks and points up at Hiram as he says that. And the halfling kind of claps you on the back, Badger, and you need to think bigger, like a true Arabellan. Money talks, Badger. Money talks.
Okay,
It's
so
a
that's
good-
my advice, but sorry.
You go ahead, Tilda.
No, you do need to think bigger in a sense of you need bigger space, but also something with actual rooms. Some
Agreed.
existing furniture also would be nice.
Marilyn thinks and like looks at the parchment that she's got with a list of addresses, and she kind of puffs her cheeks out and, well, I don't think the next place is going to be any good either then, she says. Why can't we just fix up the old place?
I mean, that's actually not a bad idea.
The roof fell in. It's ash. What are we
Yes,
rebuilding?
we do have the foundation still there.
Okay.
It would need some work. It would take some time, but I suppose it could be done if that's what we want to do. However, how would you all feel about a bit of a detour?
Okay. Where are we going?
So Hiram would want to go to the Silver Sword Estate to ask ask whoever is left behind if they know any good places that we could potentially buy.
I thought you were going to say we were going to seize the Silver Sword Estate.
I
for
did
the
think about
Warhounds
that, I'm not going to
HQ.
lie.
But that's a
I
really
did
good
think
idea
about it,
to
but
ask
I'm
them.
not sure if the family would approve of that.
Okay. Okay, not to worry. So, in which case, I mean, Marilyn's game. So as you kind of head up towards the Silver Sword Estate, it's effectively like the Arabellan holiday home, right? So it's nowhere near as grandiose as the Silver Sword Estate back in Susail. However, when you get there, you can see that it's operating on skeleton staff. As you start to kind of as you're going to the estate, Marilyn is thinking about the place where they go, and she looks to you, Badger, and I think the sooner that we find somewhere, the better. Do you know how hard it is to bring up an awakened cactus when you have to keep on moving it around all the time? It keeps on trying to stab me.
You'd like your cactus. It's your souvenir from Suzail.
She's my baby, yes, but she's also a spiky little bitch.
Very good.
Nothing I can say to that. It's fair. Yeah, Badger just
As you get to the start approaching the Silver Sword Estate, Emily turns around to you, Hiram, and says, Hiram,
Yes.
can I go and you see her stopping. You see her stop talking. She thinks for a moment. Can I go and play?
Play what?
She pulls a face like she wasn't expecting you to answer with that answer. And you see her look around. Rocks?
Okay, I need you to wait. Isn't rocks the one when you are throwing at someone and the more you hit them, the more points you get?
Yes.
Okay, that game is for Balthazar only because he can't feel it. So I'm gonna go with a no.
Then no. No, not that. It's a different game.
How about
What about sticks?
How about, and I give her and pull out a gold from my bag. Say, how about you go and get something sweet for everyone, including yourself, and meet us at the estate.
Okay.
I'm only giving this to you if you promise that you are not going to hurt anyone. And by hurt, I mean no hitting, no throwing, definitely no arrows, no kicking, no biting.
Tabbing.
So, no playing then.
It's the deal. Take it or leave it.
Okay, she says. She holds her hand out. She sticks her hand out. Marilyn looks to Emily with this kind of face. And looks up to you, Hiram, and says, "I'll keep her safe."
Thank you.
Maybe.
Don't let her bite you.
Marilyn smiles and, luckily, I can run faster than her.
That's probably true.
And yeah, you hand over the money to Emily, and Emily kind of looks at Marilyn, looks at this halfling, sizes her up, and okay then. she says, and the two of them wander off.
And before they are too far away, I'm gonna shout out after her. Oh, don't get any licorice. Get something nice.
Emily stops, looks over her shoulder, and there's this devilish grin, like a smirk, on her face. And then, Marilyn kind of pulls her away into the crowd. But yes, you find yourself stood outside the Silver Sword estate. And yeah, as I say, it's operating on skeleton staff, so there's no kind of ground security or anything like that. And the gates to the grounds are open.
Okay, we go in, I assume.
Do you really
Yeah.
know somewhere? Do you have connections, I suppose?
I mean, this is my connection. I don't know the city that well, but the steward who looks after the house, the estate while we are away, knows the area quite well. So I am hoping that if there's something for sale, he would know about it.
Okay then.
Okay. As you make it into the manor itself, the manor house, there's a number, like you see a couple of the waiting staff, but they look up to you and good morning, Master Silversword, and they all kind of quickly gather up into a line in the hallway and kind of bow to you, and sort of like one of them's holding a feather dust and kind of hides it behind her back as they and then you see like one's kind of trying to clean his boot, like his shoe on the back of his trouser leg in a hurry. We weren't expecting you, Master Silversword.
Oh, I'm sorry to disturb you. Just don't mind me. I'm only here to see the steward if I can.
Oh, yes, of course. He's just out back, actually, in the botanical gardens. Do you want to? Would you like us to escort you?
Oh, that's okay.
You know the way.
Yeah, I know the way. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. It's good. It's good to see you, Master Silversword.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Let's go.
As we're walking through the house towards the back, Badger just whispers, "Your own botanical gardens."
I know. It's... You get used to it, I suppose?
Marilyn's right. You are rich.
My family is rich, thank you.
Okay. As Badger, as you walk through, like, as the two of you are walking through the halls, Badger, you notice this one hallway that you're walking down. There's this plush red carpet underfoot. The ceilings are high. Given you're a gnome, right? So most ceilings are high, but by comparison, these are higher than most. The wood is this kind of rich, dark, almost black color that stands out against the white walls. There are these kind of impressive chandeliers that hang from the ceiling. And as you kind of turn right into this corridor, you see that there are a number of commissioned family portraits. Hiram.
Yep.
How many of them are you in?
I would imagine one of them only.
Yeah.
I mean,
with your family or on your own?
With the family.
Okay.
Well, actually, out of character, it's open to everyone. Do you guys think as a bastard he would be on the paintings?
I feel like because in recent times he'd done some good stuff, I'm wondering if there's like more kind of hastily like painted ones or like based on like the likeness where someone's like, okay, well this is what he looks like, and sort of like it's been kind of like put either next to or on top of the old portraits.
I imagine his grandparents would have also stressed he was in at least one.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think he would be one, but I'm going to text it to Dan. I don't think we would see that in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Suzale?
It's in Suzale.
Oh.
And you know what? No, I'm not going to text it to you. I think the only painting he is in is when he was a baby and his mother was still around. And it's in Garrett's room.
Okay. In which case, yeah, that figures. So, Badger, as you walk through, you notice that all the paintings of the silver swords. Like there are silver swords that you haven't met before, right? And you can tell from the paint that these are older paintings. But you do. There is a painting of the current silver swords, the one you have met, Hiram's grandfather, his grandmother, and Hiram is not present in the painting. Only his two half siblings, and his father Gareth, who stands between Jemima and Gavin, like his two children, and he's got this kind of like privileged sneer on his face. But yeah, you notice Hiram is not to be seen.
What? Were you away when this one was painted?
Actually, I was at the academy.
Oh. It's a shame. You'd have thought they could wait for you to get back.
Oh, I'm not allowed to be on the paintings. Well, not allowed. It's not the thing to do. Because that's the Silver Sword family, and while I have the name, you know I'm not an acknowledged Silver Sword. Lawfully speaking.
That seems very, very poor from a family perspective. It's a very strange way to categorize family as legitimate or not legitimate. I mean, I don't know. You'd never have that in Semberholm.
Yeah, I mean, it is just a painting.
That's true.
Yeah, I want to say that I got all the love I could get, but you have met my father. Yeah, but my grandparents were always lovely, so no complaints. And I had my own botanical gardens.
Speaking of, you emerge from the corridor into said botanical gardens, and over by the fountain that's got a statuette of a fish. Sorry, not a fish, a mermaid. Spitting water out of her mouth in a constant stream, which in hindsight seems very unhygienic. You find this kind of older. You see your steward. He looks older than you remember him, Hiram. It's not been too long since you last saw him, but you notice now maybe it's in the daylight, that the years are certainly starting to catch up with him. And he hears you approaching in your big clanking armor, and turns and, Master Silversword, I wasn't expecting you. And he stands up and he kind of dusts himself off, dusts the dirt off his trousers as best he can. I was just keeping the gardens prim and trimmed, you know?
Yes, I have to say, it's looking beautiful. I'm sorry for dropping on you without any forward warning. I just had, myself and my colleague Badger, we had a question for you, if you have a second.
What? Of course, Master Silversword. But please, take a seat in the pavilion. I'll bring some drinks over to you, and then we can have a chat.
Okay, thank you.
And he nods and he kind of hurries off, towards the house proper.
Always feel bad when he wants to make that many drinks and everything himself. I offered him once to help him. He looked so affronted. Yeah.
This is a beautiful garden.
It is. My stepmother loved it.
So as you sit and kind of take in the sights, you can hear the hubbub of Arabelle just kind of off in the distance over the walls of the estate. So Herman, the steward, has, true to his word, he's done a pretty good job with maintaining the gardens. You can hear like a number of wildlife kind of prancing about and kind of making do. And in this moment, you realise that the two of you are completely alone with nothing but each other's thoughts. What do you do?
Right, actually, Badger, there was something I wanted to talk to you about, if it's okay. Remember, God, I want to say a while back, but it was probably just weeks ago, when we went to the Druid Caves and we met the dragon.
Yes.
Remember and he searches for a word, the episode I had?
Oh, yes. Oh, of
Right.
course. Well, it was a very stressful situation.
Yes, but I remember that you had some pointers on how to deal with it. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but both myself and Emily have been kind of struggling with that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
When certain things remind us of the attack on the headquarters, and we just freeze up. And I've been trying to talk to her and get her to talk about it and trying to find solutions, but I am going to be very honest, I have no idea how to even approach this, and I wondered if you have seen this before, if you have any advice.
Gosh. I mean, I have come across this sort of thing before. When I used to care for the refugees from Mithranor over in Semberholm, there were a lot of people who'd been through hell back there, completely displaced from their home. They were like shells of their former selves and jumping at their own shadows. So yes, I've definitely seen it before. I wish I had some magic formula to tell you, Hiram, but the fact of the matter is that it takes time. It's a healing from this kind of thing is a whole process. I don't know how you feel, but what many people have told me in the past is that something that earth-shattering when it comes across their life, an event like that will just sort of destroy their whole sense of the world and themselves. You go from feeling like you were safe and strong enough to take anything or protect anyone, or that essentially if you were good, then you'd get basically good things back, and something like that can break that feeling. And I guess the temptation might be to withdraw from the world and withdraw from other people, but the fact is, from what I've seen, the people who do best with their healing are the ones who reach out and connect and talk about what happened, and they live their lives fully and they rewrite the story. It becomes, yes, that happened to me and it was awful, but I came through it, and here I am still now, persisting. Talking to other people who've been through something similar can be helpful, in my experience. Like the people from Mithranor had each other. They could remember and tell the stories and make plans to rebuild life again together, on a basis of common ground. Do you know anyone who might be able to give you that?
Maybe? I mean, I know someone who has something similar, although instead of fire it's water. I'm not sure how willing they would be to talk.
Who's
about
that?
things like this. It's kind of personal, so I think I would let them share that when they're ready. A
childhood incident with a pond, perhaps.
I actually have no idea. I didn't really ask for details.
Yes. Okay. Well.
Well, weird idea, and feel free to tell me if I'm really off base here, but Azrat has been around for a long time, hasn't he?
Yes. Yes, he has.
Does he have experience in this?
Badger, as Hiram asks you this, and you're looking at Hiram, you instinctively look down to your right arm and notice that you don't have a glowing tattoo on it.
I look around automatically to find out where Azarad is.
And as you look kind of off to the side, you see that Azrad has manifested himself and is just kind of staring at the point that the fountain stream hits the surface of the water. And he just seems to be quietly lost in the moment.
Well, why don't you ask him yourself?
Oh. Right, I forgot he could do that. Okay. Right, just 1 second. And Hiram very awkwardly stands up and approaches the fountain. When he's close enough, he actually clears his throat, see if he can get Azarat's attention.
As you clear your throat, you see the Githzerai's ears kind of prick up ever so slightly. And like the head, he's got his back to you, but his head tilts kind of ever so slightly towards you.
Master Silversword.
Can you please not call me that?
The Githzerai turns to face you kind of front on.
What would you prefer me to call you?
Hiram has worked perfectly fine up to this point.
Very well. Hiram. She speaks. Some would consider them words of wisdom. I would offer a counterpoint.
Okay.
Where I come from, we take these raw, tumultuous emotions. We take them, we shape them, we mold them into constructs of order, into tools of reality. We do not let them control us, we control them. I have found that sharing my emotions has only resulted in creating turmoil and chaos for those around me. I have clearly done very well keeping all of these things to myself.
Do you mean the part when you are a magical tattoo on my friend's arm and you are basically a ghost? Or do you mean when you are not that easily angered? Wait, no.
Azarad, like, you see his eyebrows flicker at you, and he...
I will admit there have been some missteps on my journey.
And he kind of tilts his head up, and...
I suppose when I met my untimely end, it was only through connecting with someone else that I was offered any path with which my life could continue. I am thankful that Badger's soul was open and willing to accept the pleas of others. If I had realized the error of my ways before my final moments, perhaps I would have made a more structured plan.
Right. Okay. Thank you for your insight. I'm going to be honest here. I think I prefer Badger's approach. I don't want Emily to feel like she can't talk about things. I don't want her to be bitter and angry. I don't want her to look at her feelings and think that they need to be of any particular purpose, apart from, feeling them.
Azarad nods.
The young one, she has been through a lot.
Yes.
You would do well to ensure that she has a grasp on these compulsions, these negative emotions before they consume her.
Yeah. I mean, that's 70% of why I'm asking, because on my own I could probably find a solution just for myself, but Emily is my charge. I can't just wing it. She already died under my watch. I don't want to make it any worse if I can.
Azrad nods.
In terms of a guardian, apart from that one unfortunate incident, you have been there for her every step of the way. Much like how in the Githzerai monasteries we banded together to protect one another. The bonds of kinship between you and your squire, I feel they will be one of the most important things for her in the coming future. Do you know the difference between the Githzerai and the Githyanki?
Nope.
When the Githyanki are born, when they are birthed from the eggs, they awaken to find themselves in a clutch somewhere on the material plane. They have no semblance of idea of their parents or their siblings. They consider themselves part of the clan and nothing more, nothing less. They consider the idea of having a large, faceless family like that a virtue. But without true guidance, without someone to instill an appropriate moral compass, they soon become slaves to vice, to compulsion, and they turn to the evil ways that they claim they overthrew the Illithids for exhibiting. Don't let her follow the same destructive path as my Githyanki cousins.
I will try not to. Thank you. That was actually really good advice.
And Azrad nods, kind of puts his bottom lip out a little bit. Yeah. He kind of looks to you, Badger, and like you see, there's this flicker of concern and sadness that ripples across his face, and he kind of locks eyes with you, and the look in his eyes is the same that he had probably, well, I think it would actually be last night, the previous night when he apologized to you for freezing up. No, sorry, it would have been it would have been last night, yeah, when he froze up in the presence of the hunter. And with that kind of forlorn look on his face, he fades away, and you watch as a tattoo reignites up your arm.
Say sensible things sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
He, in your head, you hear him say,
I would wish to speak with you in private when next we have an opportunity.
Okay. And Badger turns back to Hiram and says, listen, Emily is growing, she is finding herself, and this horrible event has come at just a really bad time for her. She'll need time to work through it. Just be there for her. Just like Azrad said, that's all you can do. When she's ready to talk to you, she will. I
really hope she will want to.
If you just keep giving her the opportunities and showing her that it's okay to share and to feel, then you're being the best model you possibly can for her.
Let's hope so. I am really hoping that meeting the real Gabriel kind of helped. Having him in your head, being angry about being connected to Droll, I think kind of broke the image of the person who murdered her.
And I think that kick was probably quite cathartic.
It was. I mean, even just watching it felt really, really good. I'm not going to lie. I know he didn't deserve it, But still,
It's kind of fun though, wasn't it?
it was a bit fun, yes. Thank you for this, by the way. And if you ever want to talk, I'm being told I'm a good listener.
Thank you. I will take you up on that.
As you wrap up that conversation, you kind of sit and enjoy the surroundings for a few minutes in kind of quiet contemplation before the steward heads back over and
Master Silversword, you have some guests. I believe she's from the Warhounds.
and you see Marilyn's kind of enter into the gardens with Emily. Out of curiosity, how much gold did you give? How much money did you give Emily?
1 gold.
1 gold, right?
Yeah.
Emily is struggling to carry a gold's worth of sweets. Like it's in
Okay.
a sack. She is dragging it. Like her and Marilyn are kind of hefting this actual sack. It looks like a sack of potatoes, but you know it's full of sweets because of the way it's just kind of flopping around in the bag.
Back in the shop, the shopkeepers are going, wonderful that they're taking all those sweets back to that enormous orphanage. So charitable.
Yeah,
Right.
as they kind of teeter from left to right, like you see that Emily's just kind of got like a candy cane hanging out the side of her mouth. She's got...
Emily?
No?
When I gave you the gold, I thought like, oh, she will buy some sweets for everyone and then keep the change for any future purchases.
Why would I do that?
I mean, those are her future purchases in the bag.
Yep, fair enough.
And there's a crunch, and she gets another bit of the candy cane off, and then
Yeah.
kind of
Oh, you did not get any licorice, right?
Marilyn looks to you and you didn't want licorice.
Well, I did say not to get any. Did you actually not buy any?
Marilyn, you better take a seat, Hiram.
What?
And they open the bag up, and you find 10 gold's worth of various licorice pieces.
At which point, Hiram goes like, "Yes, it worked," and he grabs one and starts eating it.
Okay, Emily looks distraught that she's been rumbled. But yes, you managed to tuck into all the sweets. Well, and as you're kind of going through the licorice, Marilyn is sat on the edge of the fountain, kind of swinging her legs and sort of like rocking her head from side to side. She chews away, and then she looks over to the two of you and have you heard?
No.
Aradel's retiring.
What?
What?
Wait, what?
Warhound Limited's gonna need a new boss soon.
How was this not the first piece of information you have given to us when we met up?
Well, I mean, I was kind of distracted by all of the platinum that you have. And the halfling kind of rolls her eyes like,
This is amazing. Who do you think's going to become the leader? Do you think it will be an in-house post, or do you think they'll hire in from outside?
Oh no, imagine the hiring process. Remember our interviews? Jeez.
I don't want to. That was a long day. But
somewhere in the city, Balthazar and Zumbo, you feel your ears burning.
But we got some very, very good candidates out of it, didn't we?
We did. It's true.
Neither of
Well,
your
one of
ears are
them was
burning.
not exactly a candidate, was it?
No, I guess not.
Yeah, Marilyn kind of thinks about it, and she said that she's cracking on a bit, and with everything that's happening and the war, and she just doesn't feel like her heart's in it anymore. So yeah, she's gonna retire down. I think she's found a toy boy.
Oh god, I did not want to know that.
What?
she, like Marilyn's, like this little halfling giggles, and she may be old, but she's still got some fight in her.
Right.
Wonderful. How young is this lover?
And she, like, you see Marilyn kind of thinking about it, and I mean, he's got facial hair, if that counts.
That's a relief. Yes.
Wait, is it anyone we know?
Maybe. I've not met him. She's not telling us his name, so.
Oh, I can't wait to meet him. This is wonderful. Aradel has found love. She's also retiring. Big life changes.
Yeah.
We love it for her.
In his head, Hiram is thinking, "Oh my god, I hope it's not Frederick."
Don't be silly, Hiram.
God.
There's no way it's Frederick.
That would be a twist.
Marilyn.
Okay.
Marilyn
The
looks at
Calco.
you and the Calco. Marilyn looks at you and, hey, if you find this new place for the Warhounds headquarters or you rebuild the old one, maybe all you lot could become the leaders.
We are never home. Wait, what do you do as a boss? Do you need to do paperwork? Do you actually need to be put?
Marilyn thinks, I think all Aradel actually does is count money and drink wine.
Sounds amazing.
I know someone who would definitely love that.
If she's not too busy being queen.
She's not queen. Wait, are we talking about the same person?
I'm talking about Ameline. Who are you talking about?
I was thinking about Chiron, but yes.
Any form of Slate would love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Marilyn giggles and kind of sighs wistfully as she chucks in another piece of licorice. And yeah, is there any last things you two want to talk about before we pan away?
Not for me.
Not for me, unless you wanted to do the chat with Azarad now, or we could do it another time.
Azarad, given that everyone's here and that you're talking, Azarad decides he kind of lurks towards the back of your mind.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Out of sight, if you will.
Yeah.
So, okay, so as the four of you tuck in, the steward, you know, he has a little chat with you about various kind of locations and so on and so forth. He joined you, along with all the serving staff, in eating licorice because you've got quite a lot of it. Thank courtesy of Emily. You notice as she goes, Emily clearly does not enjoy licorice as much as you do. She is grimacing as she forces herself to keep up with you. Determined, it seems, not to let slip that this was part of some kind of cruel prank that has horribly backfired. But yes, as we pan away, a few days pass. Day turns to night, turns to day, turns to night, and somewhere, we're not sure where, but somewhere in the streets of Arabelle, we find Katya, Zumbo, and Slate. And between the three of you, if you could tell me whether you're falling in or falling out of this tavern. And
What's the tavern look like?
Yeah, what kind of establishment is it?
Which tavern?
Yeah, which one is it?
Which tavern is it? Let's say it is. Oh, that's his name. Northern Cormyr. Hang out.
Also, what time of the morning is it?
It is it's gone midnight. Like it's early hours of the morning. You've just fallen. Okay, this is the Moonlit Touch, which is one of Arabelle's nightclubs.
What's it like? Is it kind of like, what's the clientele like? Good, bad?
How sticky are the floors?
This is.
What's the music like?
This is
Techno
like.
elves.
middle to upper, like there's drapes. They've got drapes. It's fancy enough that they've got drapes. They've got wine. You can buy wine.
Is it like typical bard hits, or is it like kind of like the kind of more obscure yet very interesting, the ones that people can't really retell to their like?
I can imagine we're probably being thrown out because they didn't appreciate the dwarven tankard acrobatics.
Okay, so you're down in southeast Arabelle. You fall out the tavern, and. Yeah, looking around. I mean, there's going to be other places for you to go to, right? So down on that street, there is 109. So just around the corner, there's an inn. 112, and a bit further on, there's another tavern. That's the Dancing Dancer. That place is all right late in the morning or early in the morning.
Katya dusts herself down. It's like, okay, well, remind me in the next place that maybe we should up the class of song. It seems that place didn't take too well to the slightly more dockside songs.
Yeah, it's just too at market for them, Katya. I think for us, Katya, I think we ought to go somewhere a bit, where the bouncers are a bit less easily offended, maybe.
I think we should just try again with the fact. How often do we ever get to go to somewhere as nice as this, and I'm wearing the nicest dress I have, and I think this really... I want to have a nice mixed beverage, and I don't think it's too much to ask that we try. Most of the places what about the one that's got the flying skull? Do you remember the flying skull one? I want to go to the flying skull. I'm sure there was a flying skull.
Was it? I'm pretty sure the flying skull was down in Cizale, wasn't it?
There was the goblin something in Suzelle. As you're talking about skulls, Zumbo, you point to the opposite corner of the street, right here, and you notice that the sign that swings from the front of this tavern is inscribed with the words "The Smoky Skull."
Now, that looks like our kind of place. Yeah.
Okay, let's go for that one.
So before the three of you bless the Smoky Skull with your patronage, I want the three of you to decide whether your individual carousings have been lower, middle, or upper class up until this point.
Well,
so we'll start with Slate.
I mean, this is a big blowout. The one thing that Slate does want to do is get a proper moonstone circlet made from Moony Luna, if possible. So they want to keep aside probably at least 1,000. They've completely forgotten about the idea of getting a place. So they're not considering that. They're just like, right, got a thing. We've got a circlet or something. And then maybe also carousing all out.
Okay, so you're going upper class schmoozing, yeah?
Oh my god.
It's how Ameline likes to live, and Ameline's on the way up right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of character, Elle, were you here for the chat about the exchange rate?
I I heard it, but I didn't really get it, so I was just like,
Cool.
That's
Just
fine.
checking.
I don't think Ameline would get it either. So
no, that's fair enough.
right, okay. So Slate's going upper class. Katya.
Katya's going sort of middle. She's making sure she's coming out to have a buzz, but she's also trying to stay because she's also trying to build up reputation by singing. So she's trying to keep in that middle ground of having some fun, but not blackout drunk by spending all the money. Fun.
And Zumbo.
Yeah, he's a cheap git, so he's like drinking the really nasty oyster vodka that the barman's brewing. He's like getting ladies to pay for his drinks. He's just like cheating at cards.
He's going for the proper gullet fire.
Amazing.
Yeah, the shoe polish stuff. Yeah.
When he's like gone to the fancy ones where there's like nothing that's cheap, has he been like, anything that's kind of been spilled / picked up again,
In those kind of bars, he's basically gone to like the first aid supplies and looked for the disinfectant, like the stuff they use for eye surgery.
Line sweeping around like.
Okay, the three of you, roll me persuasion checks, please.
Is this to get in the bar?
Sweet.
No. This is to see how well your carousing is. What the results of your carousing up until this point.
Oh no.
Oh no!
It's 18.
No.
Oh.
Right.
It's actually perfect.
I got 22.
Perfectly stacked,
Yeah.
according to how posh your carousing's been.
Perfect. Oh my god. Okay. Right. So we also need one of those, and one of those.
Oh,
Cool,
God,
okay.
boy.
Right. So in terms of your carousing, Slate, with your upper class schmoozing, with which Ameline has perfected her craft, you have met 3 people of interest. Okay, that we are currently nameless, but we can cash them in later. Katya, you have cashed in on 2 contacts from the middle class.
Mm-hmm.
And Zumbo, you've cashed in on 1.
But it's a hostile contact.
Yeah, I've got 2 good guys.
So, yeah, on Xanathar.
So, as you lot fall into the smoky skull, you can this is like a proper spit and sawdust kind of honky tonk piano in the corner kind of place.
Let me do the introductions and let us, I'll make sure that we at least start on a really good footing.
Yeah, keep your words small. They don't look like people here are that, just short words.
Don't worry, I know how to speak to people of my own stature.
I think
came
we
from
should
these
just
sort of
go in
areas
all-
down in Cizale.
I think we should just go up to people we like and then say, "Hello, good sir," and then we'll have a great time. That's just how it always works. And sometimes a compliment goes a long way.
I'll try to remember that one. And Katz just sort of pushes open the door, strums a note. What's the name? Smoking Skull.
Yeah, smoky skull.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Smoking Skull, put down your Cizale, put down your old black goblins, but raise your Arabellan dry. For the Warhounds! We have arrived. I am Katya Donahue, Bard of the Warhounds. With me is the Lady Amelin, the most fairest and most beautiful of them all.
Is Ameline vomiting in a corner?
Well, that's a good question, Anton. Katya, as you're giving your speech, I need everyone to roll me a Constitution save.
And Zumbo's
On the
fighting
introduction, I want to just go to everyone.
12.
Yeah.
It looks a lot better in here than I expected it to, and you're probably nicer than you look.
Oh wow.
Okay. So, Katya, as you're giving your speech, you're the one that kind of has to pause, and you can see everyone else can see your cheeks puff out and your throat bulge a little bit.
The most beautiful and fairest all the lands. Excuse me. And this is Zumbo. Zumbo, Captain.
Okay.
She raises she does an archer and she just.
I've just realised one other person who would be with you is.
Oh, I imagine he's still in the other place just fine. He's up at the bar right now.
Who's been giving Drool beer?
Oh no, Drool!
Okay, so Katya, as you finish your Captain Zumbo, you just hear as Droll just vomits on the floor.
And my trusty companion, Droll.
Just keels over onto his side.
Killed the dog.
Oh no.
Okay. So yeah, you you finish as Droll flops to his side. You look up and you see a grand total of 4 pairs of eyes look back to you, including the barkeep. And you hear one voice shout out, "Who the fuck are you?"
Well, I'm glad you asked, sir, for I will be answering that question in due course.
And I will do an interpretive dance to display how far we've got with our day. And the journey we've done so far, which has actually been longer than a day.
Katya turns around, puts her arm over you and down towards you, Zumbo, and she's like, I think we need to do the low-flying cleric.
Hang on, what does that mean?
Basically, we went into a cave once with Magnus, and there was a magical shield, and he decided the best way to remove the magical shield was to blow himself up in it, or something along those. But he came out like he was flying through the air with the greatest of ease, and I wrote a song about it. He doesn't like the song, but it's a good song. It's perfect for here. It'll be a good one for here. And because he deserves some punishment for lying to his parents.
Yeah,
I think the alcohol is starting to kick in.
You do that, and I owe you a drink from we're leaving anyway, so I'll get the drinks in. What you having?
Oh, I wouldn't say no to Cizale.
Right, yeah. Amelie, what about you?
What's the finest thing they have on the
It'll be
menu?
grog. It'll be some kind of grog.
Can
Probably
I have,
brown or
like-
yellow.
Refined grog, maybe? Like.
I'll get you a brown. Yeah.
Choose your colour, brown or yellow. Okay. Is Ameline kind of dismissing herself at this point? Like, are you going to go off into a corner and dance, maybe in the lavatories?
Planning to be there, hype manning, as I promised to.
Okay.
And possibly also because this is a fire song, and because, it's that kind of night where you think you've got great ideas, but you don't necessarily have the best ideas. Probably gonna see if I can make it more effective with some pyrotechnics.
Wait, burning down taverns was my thing.
Well, I'm adding to the... I'll still blame it on...
Right, so in which case, Ameline, as you kind of begin, as you bring your hands up above your head and kind of dance off away from the bar, Zumbo and Katya, you find yourself with a few moments, because as you approach the bar, this is the kind of place where the barman just shakes his head and walks away. He leaves just the two of you at the bar.
Do we just serve ourselves?
Yeah, I'll just reach behind the bar for a bottle or something and just smash the top off on the counter.
Oh wow.
Just pour us 3. I'll try and pick the 3 cleanest looking glasses. And I understand that's going to be relative here, but yeah, just if I can't see anyone actively spitting in them, I'll take those ones.
Okay. So with a chance, is there anything Zumbo and Katya would like to have a quick chat about whilst Slate is dancing with the pixies over in the corner?
At least wait till I've started the music. Oh, let her be. She looks like she's having fun.
I think she's got a music all her own, to be honest, Katya. Not sure she needs us tonight.
Dancing to the beat of her own drum, yes.
Yeah.
You notice that I can only imagine Slate has cast a minor version of Moonbeam and is kind of turning it on and off.
Yes, amazing.
moving Mooney through it to like refract it and get the different, a little bit of red, a little bit of green.
Yes, sorry. Beg your pardon.
So, yeah, how are you? That was quite something down in the vault, wasn't it? You doing okay?
As well as I could be, I suppose. I mean, that was probably the worst, well, apart from the dragons, the second worst thing we've ever been in, but I'm glad we made it out, and I think we partially have Selune to thank for that. As she sort of pats the moon sword at her side, and it's like, it's never glown that brightly.
Yeah, that little trinket was a real help. Where'd you find it?
Funny enough, the song that I'll hopefully be singing tonight, The Flying Cleric, around the same time as that. I mean, it was kept on the party for a while before I eventually took it myself. They felt I needed something more protective, and she pulls out the 2 daggers that she owns, and it's like, these are all I had for the longest time. My mother's dagger, and one that I stole this from that guy we met down in the Stagstead, the tattooed guy.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Katya, I'm not normally, I like to keep sort of boundaries between, captain and crew, keep it professional. And as he's saying, this is like swaying on the stool, just like. but tonight, I needed to talk to someone about the vault. I ain't never been that. Well, maybe once, but I only been that scared once. I really thought we were going to die down there, and no one would ever know, would they? We'd just disappear, poof, like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. If anything happened to us, who would have known? That would have been the end.
Yeah, and you, it's all right for you guys. You've got all these songs and stories and the like, and if you lot all pop your clogs tomorrow, people will still be singing the Ballad of the Warhounds for months, years after you're gone. But I ain't got nothing like that, Katya. When I'm gone, I'm gone. And yeah, that's all I could think about when we was down there, is that no one will ever know my story.
It's the thing about death, isn't it? Like, I'm really going to be the only person who'll ever remember my mother. No one ever really cared. I mean, she wasn't a wealthy woman. She came from the poorest district of Cizale. But at least I still remember her, and I'm sure there's someone out there that will remember you, that you've made a impression on. And if there isn't, well, how about I make sure they do? Next time we do something, I'll make sure I write a song for you.
I think his eyes would light up, and he'd be like, "Hey, you'd do that, would you?"
Of course. I mean, since you've joined us, you've been a good part of the team. You definitely seem to have brought, a lot of cohesion to us. You're making us think of ourselves as a crew, and treating us as your crew. Yeah, I mean, you've done plenty for us. I think it's only fair I do something for you. And I know push comes to shove, if ever I'm in danger or anything. I mean, look how you, me, and Balthazar did in the Cobblestons. Like, how quickly we work together. I know you've got my back, and I've got yours. Yeah,
we are quite a team, ain't we? Yeah. Thanks, Katya. That's real swell of you. Actually, I've got. If you want some inspiration, I've been keeping a bit of a journal. Nothing special. I ain't got your talent with the words and stuff, but for the time before I met you, if you wanted there's some good stories in there. I could happily give it to you, and you could, if you get a bit of spare time, you could write a ditty or two. It doesn't need to be anything special, but
I'd gladly do that.
Oh. Wow, that's great.
Can I ask you a question then, Zumbo?
Well, yeah, of course.
I mean, you do say that you are very close person. I was for a long time too. I kept a lot of secrets from the rest of these people. I mean, until it all basically bubbled up at the Dragons Riders Club. I'm sure you heard it burnt down in Sazale, but it's because I didn't let other people in. But what did happen to you and your crew?
I guess it'll go a bit pale and kind of is probably glancing at Betty, who's sat with 8 shot glasses in front of her, just like.
You watch as Betty lines there. There's 8 shot glasses in front of her. On one tentacle, there are the remnants of a line of salt, and there's a half suckered lime nearby.
Easy.
I ain't paying for that, you know. He'll turn back to Katya and, yeah, I suppose I probably should. Probably only fair as you're my new crew. You ought to know what you're getting into. Well, I told you that at my interview, I think, that we was attacked by a group of blue dragons. Did I mention that?
I think you did, yes.
Yeah, well, of course, you know blue dragons, they can't bleeding fight fair, can they? They brought along this, well, I don't know what it was. Looked a bit like her, I suppose, but much bigger, obviously.
Katya looks to Betty and then...
Like, much, much bigger.
I mean, in stories there are creatures, but they're just stories.
Yeah, well, that story ate my bleeding crew, didn't it? Well, I assume so, anyway. They all started jumping off the boat, and the blue dragon cowards ran back to their own ship. So, I'm not sure really what happened, but I ran at the thing and it swallowed me.
Oh my goodness! How are you... What?
Yeah, it was not my best day, to be honest, Katya.
I'm assuming that's when you've been the most scared.
Yeah. I don't know how long I was down there. It could have been days, could have been weeks, maybe. I was kind of in and out of it, you know. Obviously, being partly digested will do that to you. But, the next thing I knew, I was floating on a bit of driftwood. Well, actually, it was the bit of driftwood that I gave to the Cobblesons.
Oh no, they still have that!
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to get that back. I suppose I'll have to get them to post it or something, but that's why I was so precious about it, you see, because it's all I got left, really, of the apple. That was my ship's name.
The apple?
Yeah.
You see her thinking for a second. The apple. Instinctively, you see her like plucking some notes. She's like, "Carry on."
Yeah, well, anyway, I guess whatever ate me mustn't have liked the taste. So, let me go, but I washed up on a beach with this bit of wood and spent a couple of weeks recovering. I'd obviously one leg less than I was used to, and half blind, covered in burns, you know. But the worst bit was that this thing kept following me about ever since. Never been able to shake it. I don't know what it's got to do with the thing that ate me, but...
I'm gonna suggest something, but I might suggest that we do it when we're not as inebriated. Would you let, like, I did it with Renna. Would you let me try maybe have a look inside your brain? I don't mean it like that. I mean looking inside your thoughts, not opening your head up, and you know what I mean. Would you let me?
Well, thanks for explaining it so much, Katya. That's great. Yeah, I guess you've already seen the worst there is to see, haven't you? Spent a couple of hours in all of our heads, so.
Yeah, I mean your heads are nothing compared to some of the people I grew up with, so.
Okay, so as the two of you kind of agree to this when you're a tad more sober. Your conversation is rudely interrupted as Ameline comes blustering back in, for all intents and purposes, pushing the two of you away from, like, just squeezing between you, lifting her arms out and pushing you to the sides. And she's like, out of my way, she says. And like you see her kind of look around, notices there's no barkeep, and then just picks up a shot glass, picks up the bottle with the smashed top, and then she looks to the two of you and what? And you notice that since she's left, she's now acquired a rather luxurious fur collar. Like it's a full fur thing. It's really voluminous.
How?
She looks at you and she. What? She says. She flicks her hair.
What on earth are you wearing that here for? Do you want us to get mugged?
And she looks to you and. Well, I don't know about you, but I can hold myself in a fight.
All right.
And she bang like shots the kind of the murky spirit, and then pours herself another. And she looks to you and. Do I know you?
Holy moly! Uh-oh.
And yeah, this
Okay.
this woman just looks at you, and you have to. If you keep your mouth hanging open that much longer, you'll have to pay me.
Yeah, I reckon we ought to take Ameline home. She's clearly had a bit much.
Katya sort of looks to Ameline a second, and well as she can in her drunken
she's looking down
state,
at you with this
Katya just
face.
peers into her mind, just on the surface level.
And the thought you hear in her head is, ugh, orphans.
Wow.
Katya at that point telepathically to Zumbo, but in a drunken state can't quite control her volume. That's not our Ameline!
Well, Katya, I thought we were going to do it when we were more sober.
Sorry.
Zumbo, the telepathic communication kind of rocks you a little bit, and as you stumble on one foot, you see past Ameline, and on her side, by the door next to Drool, is Ameline.
Oh no.
Ah.
Without a fur collar, like a fur shawl.
Madam, I'm so... And Katya's gesturing Zumbo, because I guess she can kind of see it as well, like, quickly. Madam, I did not mean offence. Obviously quite a... And she sort of just stares at her, trying to sort of think of how to diplomatically say it. You are very striking, madam. You just taken me back is all.
And Ameline kind of looks to you and... Well, I must admit, I am quite striking. I mean, and I don't mean to brag, but I am going to be the new priestess of Selune in Arabelle, so, you know, when any of you lot need my help, you'll come running and scarpering.
Well, I was born under the first quarter of Selune, the sign of the star, so maybe I'll make sure to come pay you a visit. What was your name? Sorry, I don't believe you said it.
Slate, you hear a laugh come from the bar, and a voice that sounds obsessingly familiar says, "My name's Ameline."
At that point, I think I can lurch up like, whoa, and then run elsewhere to turn into maybe Rufus. I think would be the most acceptable.
As you kind of go to shoot away to kind of get some privacy, a stall is pushed backwards and you collide with the person as they're going to stand up. And as there's a big crash as the two of you go sprawling. Katya, Zumbo, like you instinctively look over, as does Amaline, the priestess of Selune, and you see Amaline and a female half-orc just sprawled out on the floor. And you see Amaline, the priestess, furrow her brow slightly. That woman's wearing the same dress as me.
Can Amaline, as in Slate Amaline, hear that?
Yes.
I'd probably be like, I think it's probably a little bit nicer than yours, just because, you know, I don't have to dress it with a fur, but it's fine.
Okay. As you say that, like the half-orc that you collided with, she's kind of groaning and making grumpy noises as she pulls herself up and she turns and, "Watch where you're going," she says. And as she stands up, Zumbo, there's almost like a shock as a memory flies through your head, and it's a voice you recognize. And as you look over, as this half-orc kind of picks herself up, dusts herself down, she turns, and across the smoky skull, your eyes meet. And in shore leave civilian's uniform, civilian's clothing, is Reeve, the bosun of the Fortune's Claw.
Amazing.
And this half-orc bosun just sort of like dusts herself off and sort of like rubbing her head because, you know, Ameline's just clocked right into her. And then across the bar, she sees you and, "You," she says, as we discover your one hostile contact.
Oh, amazing.
Now, the thing is, funny story, I'm actually an octuplet, right? So there's a lot of us about. This happens all the time.
You see this half-orc, you're talking, but you see her eye go to your eye patch, to your wooden leg, to your birds, and you.
Yeah, our parents were really careless.
And shit, yeah. Reeve stomps over to you, and you realize it's clearly she's not on duty, right? Like she's in Arabo for a start. And she looks you up and down, and I should have you arrested.
Me? You owe me a ship.
You were consorting with Krakens!
That was your beastie.
Why would an upstanding blue dragon of Cormyr consort with Krakens, you pleb?
So Katya sits there and goes, I'm sorry, Krakens are real?
Alright, Katya, we'll talk about this later.
And she looks around and like seeing she looks to you and is this your, what is this? She says as she looks from Katya to Amaline to you. What kind of sordid activities are you up to?
I'll have you know this is my crew. Well, my new crew, given what you did to my last ones.
Well, if you weren't so stupid to attack a chartered vessel of Cormyr, then we wouldn't have had to retaliate. Not that it mattered, given that you were dealing with dark magics.
Dark magic, honestly. The cheek of this woman.
And how? She pauses for a moment. I saw you get eaten.
Yeah, I got better. Anyway, don't change the subject. Where are you keeping it? It's not here, is it?
Keeping what? You insufferable little twit.
You great squiggly beast. Don't play dumb. I know it's around here somewhere. And he's like looking at the.
You genuinely think that Kraken was ours?
Well, I know you wouldn't dare take on Zumbo Marifat without it. Bunch of cowards.
This half-orc is beginning to, like, you can see the colour rising in her cheeks as she gets more and more irate with you. You were nothing more than a 2-bit hack in a stolen ship.
That was a very nice stolen ship, and I worked hard to steal it as well.
And she looks to this half-orc looks to you, Katya, and are you honestly part of this moron's crew? How old are you?
Katya stands up. Old enough to know that Zumbo Farafat is a good man, thank you very much.
Reeve, like, furrows her brow, looks to Ameline the priestess, who steps back and goes, "They're not with me," she says as she pours herself another shot and takes a step back. And then the half-orc bosun looks to you, Slate. Have you changed in the commotion? Have you changed form?
Probably, yeah.
Who have you changed to?
Rufus.
Okay. In which case, yeah, so the bosun looks over her shoulder, notices that that twin isn't there anymore, and it says there's some ponce in green ploofy clothes.
Like a shimmery. It would be a shimmer weave change to something that's a bit more drab for.
Okay, cool. Right, yeah. So she looks at you, Rufus, like looks you up and down, knows that it's not you, and then kind of goes back to interrogating Zumbo. It's like you then hear a like a gasp from across the room, and as you look up across the room, you see Ameline. You, she says.
Oh dear, I didn't realise you would be here.
And Zumbo, Katya, you watch as Ameline the priestess, in a shocking speed, crosses the bar and just slaps Rufus across the cheek, leaving this massive glowing red handprint.
What did I do? Honestly.
You said you'd write! Shouts Ameline.
I wrote as many times as I needed to.
You said we were going to get married! Roland, why did you run away from me?
Well, got bored.
Oh, not cool!
But look at you. You seem to be doing very well. I mean, the Saluni gig is something. I mean,
And Ameline's kind of chewing on her back teeth, and I only joined the faith because my heart was broken, Roland, she says.
I'm sorry, I never realized you were so passionate about it all. Do you know what? I will write next time. If you leave the faith, then I, Roland, promise to write in 3 months' time, when I am away from my next adventure, which will be in Cormyr. It's quite a while away, so probably not able to kind of get with the pen and paper for a while, especially, you know, with the traveling and the adventuring and the killing and the, you know.
Can I have a persuasion?
25!
Oh no!
You see
Oh, you are an
Ameline's
awful
face of
person.
hatred melt. Oh, Roland, she says, as she rests her hand on your cheek and just gently caresses it with her fingertips. And then grimacing because you've got a bit of dirt on I always knew it would be true love. When you spoke of marriage, I knew your words weren't false.
Of course not. Just hey, do me a favor. Could I take something to remember you by on my journeys?
She kind of looks to you and no. But she holds your hands and I'll await your letter. You know where to send it. I'll be in the new temple, the Shrine of Selune here in Arabelle, she says. And if you don't send it, she puts a hand on your shoulder. We'll know. We'll find you.
Sure, yes. Right, well, jolly good. And then taps Ameline on the shoulder. Are you sure you need this get-up, especially if you are to leave the faith? And, yes.
She kind of takes a step back and you're right, I'll need something much more extravagant. And she looks you up and down and if we are to be wed, I require you to be wearing much more elegant wear than this. I mean, you look positively hideous, Roland. So, I will make arrangements for the wedding, and I will patiently await your return from Cormyr.
Fabulous. I will be back as soon as I can. I can't wait to see you, my love. In the meantime, if you could send over any clothing measurement, I'll give you my measurements now and just pull out some sort of script and just quickly, there's my measurements. Okay. Any fine clothing, just send it to, this address and just put the World Serpent's address in.
Sure.
And then for Roland, and just also wink when you do.
Ameline nods. She kind of gives you the instructions. She reaches down to the table that you're next to. She picks up the half-drunk drink, finishes it, and then grabs the back of your head and gives you the worst, wettest kiss you've ever had. And she says, "Until my hero returns." And she spins with a flourish, like a fur, kind of goes over her shoulder, and she looks to you, Zumbo, looks to you, Katya, and ew, she says, and strides out.
At the minute that she goes, Rufus will walk over to Katya and to Zumbo and just say, "Do either of you know how to write a notification of death whilst adventuring?"
Katya opens up her bag. She's like, "If you make it worth my while, I have a forgery kit." Question though, where is the real Rufus?
Here?
This
I thought
the half-orc is just stood in amongst you all, just looking backwards and forwards slowly. And she shakes her head looking at you, Zumbo, and then says, "I don't know what kind of twisted plan you've got going on here, but you mark my words. Even if you come to the gates of Marsember, you will never lay foot on your ship again."
So, that's where it is it? Marsember, that's where you got it?
And Reeve looks at you for a moment and... "Shit," she says.
At that point, Rufus will also go, "Seriously, are you still here?"
And you wrap out the night as this half-orc turns to look at you, Rufus. Looks at your face intently, at your beautifully sculpted cheekbones, your high-bridged nose. Runs her tongue across her tusks and your world goes black as a and you're knocked out. And as we wrap out the carousing. We will grab a short break, and when we come back, we will find out what Balthazar has been up to.
He's been a good boy.
Katya's just been like, please can I play my song?
I love that
each other.
Katya's probably sitting there just watching like either side, like, how I ended up the most normal one in this pub.
You're the only one not trying to burn it down.
I'm so sad I didn't even get to do any of the dances. I had the squiggly wizard ready.
We will see you all in 10.
Okay.
See you in 10.
Bye.
See you then.
You're here with Eleanor Gray. Did you know that millions and millions of videos each year go into the middle of nowhere because they don't get subscribed to? You could be better than that. You can save this video by clicking subscribe.
Welcome back, everyone. So, yeah, that was a bit chaotic, wasn't it?
It was brilliant.
Very good.
Cool. So, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, depends how you see it. We are not done there. So, with Rufus recovering from his mild concussion, yeah, we will swoop in and pick up a few days later. And yeah, we will catch up with the Warhounds. Specifically, let's say Hiram, Balthazar, and a somewhat woozy Slate. And what form is Slate in?
Probably Chiron
Chiron. Okay.
in a more kinder and benevolent state today.
Yeah, the
Okay,
only
so-
safe form.
Karen is hangover mode. Yeah.
So, yeah, the three of you are walking towards the north of Arabelle. Under Hiram's advice, Balthazar, you found out that the closest thing to a library that Arabelle has
Yes.
is contained within the Citadel, which is the garrison, the office of power, the seat of power within Arabelle. Hiram, you also know that the Citadel is the was the seat of Lord Kralik, who was the cantankerous villain that used to run Arabelle. But you yourself aren't sure what's entirely happened to him. As you're you've just kind of emerged from a shop, Chiron, you notice the two of you, as you talk, the conversation is kind of going over Chiron's head, because in Chiron's hands is a circlet studded with a number of refined moonstones carved from Moony Luna, which is the commission has just been finished. It took the best part of a week, but yeah, this circlet, it's yet to be blessed. And Chiron, you have there's this horrible feeling in your stomach, because you know, Slate, who's going to be the person to bless it. But yeah, it seems that Hiram and Balthazar are going in to do some book reading. What would Chiron like to do? Is Chiron joining them, or making himself scarce?
Feeling worse for wear, I think. Chiron's just kind of going along with the plot just to be like...
Okay. Just feeling a bit sorry for himself, a bit quiet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. In which case, yeah, Hiram, Balthazar, as you you make your way in, you notice that there are purple dragons guarding the entrance to the Citadel. They are all kind of marked with the green livery of the 4th Regiment, that you know marks them out as, you would hope, allies. The 4th Regiment you've fought alongside for quite some time. They notice you, they recognize you, they allow you in. And as you enter into the Citadel, you find yourself in the large kind of opulent foyer. There's a large kind of swooping staircase in front of you, flanked by ornate suits of armor. There are intricately carved pillars. There are statues surrounded by cultivated decorative plants everywhere. It all looks well. The grandioseness of this place is evident. You notice that it's starting to become a bit kind of dusty, and you notice that the place is significantly emptier than you last remember it, Hiram. There don't appear to be any kind of serving staff or butlers or janitors or anything. There's just like the occasional 4th Regiment Purple Dragon wandering about.
Sure.
You hear footsteps coming down from the stairs in front of you, and you hear a voice echo out through the room. I wondered when I would see you again. And as you turn to look to the, halfway down the stairs, you see the familiar face of Sariel Lathalas, the Oversword of the 4th.
She was the Oversword during the Battle of Hulk Forest, right?
Yes. You fought alongside Sariel at Hulk Forest all that time ago.
Or Hiram did, I guess.
Well, Hiram did, yes. That's where you'll recognize her, Hiram. And she walks up to you and she bows respectfully, and it has been too long, Hiram Silversword. And she looks at you, Balthazar. She looks at you, Chiron. She nods. It has been too long. I'm afraid I don't recognize you, friend, she says, looking up to you, Balthazar.
Balthazar just nods.
Oh, this is our new colleague, Balthazar.
A pleasure to meet you, Balthazar. I apologize that we are not meeting in more peaceful times, but things have changed. Have taken a turn for the worst, I must admit, since we last spoke, she said, looking to Chiron and Hiram.
Yeah, that they did.
I can only, although it has been a while since we spoke, I cannot assume that you came here for a little chit-chat. How may I help you, Warhounds?
We are looking for the library. There is some research we would like to do.
She looks to you, Hiram, and she's kind of got this look of she looks slightly impressed actually that she didn't really take you for the bookish type. She looks at Chiron, definitely didn't take him for the bookish type. And then she looks up to you slowly about the sign. For the 3 of you, are all 3 of you going to the library?
You are.
There are
I'm not sure how I feel about the way you are asking that. Why?
It's just we don't normally have so many outsiders inside is all. The war wizards get a bit cranky.
I see.
we do have picture books there, right? With the images, tell the stories.
Sariel lets out like a hearty laugh. I'm sure we can find some picture books for you, Master Chiron. Absolutely. And she kind of turns, she points to one of the doors, like she gestures to one of the doors. If you please follow me, I will have a word with the law keepers. And she leads you over, leads you towards this hallway. She turns as she goes, looks at you, Chiron, and did you take a fall, Master Chiron? Your nose looks quite bruised.
I had a run-in with some very ruthless and thuggish thugs.
Sariel
Completely not my fault.
Sariel shakes her head and ever since Krallig scarpered, it's been harder and harder for me to try and keep things in order, but I can only apologize for the violence, she says. As you're kind of halfway to the library, she turns, looks at you again, Balthazar, and I don't mean to pry, but where do you hail from, Master, Miss?
Balthazar will just look at Hiram and not say a thing.
Oh, Balthazar is under oath. He is a cleric of Helm, and I look at I look up at Balthazar from the corner of my eye. Like, do I remember that right? And like, yes, he is doing this oath thing where he needs to be in his armor, and he's also silent mostly.
Sariel, like, her face softens, and that is a shame. You look like someone who would have a great many interesting stories to tell.
Balthazar just nods.
Yeah, you should meet our other new colleague Zumbo. Full of excellent stories.
Sariel smiles, and hopefully the Warhounds stay in business long enough that I might get to meet this magnificent Zumbo. She stops, like, you've reached the end of the corridor. Hiram, I think you've been here before, but you know the library's on the other side of these doors, and she stops. And, like, she kind of glances to the ground somewhat sheepishly, and then turns to you and says, Is Master Cobbleson still among your company?
I'm afraid he isn't. He had personal things to attend to.
He did.
But I was thinking of sending him a message fairly soon. If you want me to pass on a message.
Sariel kind of looks away quickly, and you notice her cheeks are flush, and I was just curious.
Yeah. By the way, he has a mustache now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very sophisticated mustache as well, might I say. Excuse me.
I'm sure he wears it well.
Tell you what, I will mention to him the next time he's near Arabelle, he should come and see you.
Of course. And Sariel kind of pauses, like, is kind of looking up into looking up, and then kind of catches herself in the library, she says, as she opens the door. She leads you in, and kind of without saying much more, she turns to you and, I'm afraid I can't stay. I'm afraid I can't stay too much longer to speak, and the wizards would be very angry with me if we spoke too much, so I will leave you be. It was very good to see you. I wish you the best.
Thank you.
And Sariel nods, and she ducks out, closes the door behind you, and the three of you find yourself in the Arabellan library.
I think at this point, Carmen would turn with terror to Hiram more than Balthazar and just go, You don't think there's any chance of him being here, do you?
Him?
I didn't think about it until we...
Wait, who?
Oh, God.
Whom?
Gimbal.
I mean, it's like an 89% chance he's around, seeing how he works here. I'm saying this, quietly. And
as you say that, you hear that there's a young war wizard up on the next level, and there's a boom as he puts down a load of books, and then he kind of looks to you, sighs, and says, "You won't find Gimbal here, fortunately."
Okay, thank you. That is
Who's
very good to know.
Who's Gimbal?
You don't want to know.
Oh.
If not that you'd want to, but if you were interested in speaking with that buffoon, you'd find him in the Citadel dungeons.
What has he done?
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's.
Do anything bad?
It was a precautionary measure when he accidentally sent sending to the king.
Okay.
Thinking when we told him to send a message to Raedra, he thought that she was still the bearer of the crown.
Oh dear.
And send all of Sariel's private messages to the Raedrans directly to Ezeret. As such, we have separated him from his spellbook, and we have incarcerated him in the dungeons where he can do no more harm.
Oh god.
Oh wow.
You must go see him.
The war wizard, the young war wizard, kind of looks out the window and like gauging the position of the sun. And with that said, this is my lunch break. Please don't make a mess. I've just finished sorting it out. And the war wizard just kind of disappears through a door.
Wait,
and
do you have
find yourselves
an
alone.
index or something?
He is gone.
Oh. Okay.
Don't worry, Hiram. I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out.
I mean,
Maybe I think I've been
this
here
is-
before.
that would be useful because this looks very different from the library we had at the academy in Suzel.
No, it's standard war wizard indexing. I can see it. It's all classified by subject and then alphabetical. But then if you want to dig deeper, it's also separated by types of magic. What are you looking for? And this also
Well-
goes towards the bookcases.
I am looking for Cormyr law.
Be that bookshelf over there. And
Okay.
Balthazar will use Mage Hand to point at it.
Yeah, Balthazar is 100% correct. It is over in that direction.
There you
Slate, are you just kind of finding a quiet corner, or are you looking for anything particular?
go.
I think there would be.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think it would be a case of kind of taking a big breath in, and then using instinct and smell and whim to find the book that's right for him.
Okay. In which case, it leads you over into you. You kind of close your eyes. You feel your way through the library. When you open them, you find yourself in the young adult fiction section.
Is there the next installment of the book that I've been?
Damn right there is. Saga of the Song Dragon, absolutely. Cool. So, with Chiron diving into book 6 of the Song Dragon Saga series, Hero, as you kind of go over and look for Cormyr law, Balthazar, how much time and wealth are you spending on this research attempt?
So
Research session.
yeah, so
Which will
where-
take multiple days. Realistically, you would have been here before, actually.
Yeah,
So this is just kind of.
Balthazar's gonna spend his whole week here basically because he can't
Yeah.
carouse, drink, or yeah.
Yeah.
So what does Xanathar's say?
So
with
you
regard
can spend
to-
for every 100 gold you spend, you get +1 to your roll. You can get a maximum of +6. You are in a well-stocked library, so you will have advantage on your roll, and obviously higher the better.
Sweet. So, explain to me what the 100 gold is being paid on. Am I bribing these war wizards to stay here?
Yeah, it's like access to the restricted sections, lots of snacks from the vending machine.
Okay.
keep you
The
going, yeah.
coffees are horribly expensive. Plus, I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
drink
yeah.
them. So.
Ink.
Probably
And
like candles and everything. when
paper.
time, like
like-
yeah.
Yeah.
Need to keep notes.
Notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hiring.
Also,
I'm hiring
because
a whole team.
You've got
Because
a
wizards
research
told me.
assistant.
I've got a research assistant. There we go.
Yeah.
Right, I basically bribed half the castle to come work for me, and this is what we've got. Cool. I'll spend 300 gold, so I get a +3 plus advantage plus what intelligence? What is the
Yeah, so it's your intelligence score plus 3. So if we very quickly
Wait, my
pull
intelligence
you out there.
sucks, actually.
Does it?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm a wise boy, not a smart boy. Yeah, I got 10 intelligence.
10 intelligence. Okay, so you'll get advantage at the very least. So let's roll me a...
Do not use history? Is that another thing?
Well, you'll be able to... There are other things you can do to get a bonus.
Such as guidance?
Might not be guidance, might be something else that you have.
What, money?
Apart from that.
Even more money.
Is it thing from a day's past? That feature?
Quite possibly.
I have a feature called
It's not going to be
knowledge.
ageist, that's for sure.
Knowledge from a previous life. There we go.
Okay, so don't roll that yet.
Okay.
Alright. So, good sir, if I could have an intelligence ability. So you're spending 300 gold.
Yes.
You are... you're in a well-stocked library, so you're going to roll with advantage.
Yes. And add a d6.
You'll add a d6. And... that's about it.
Plus 1d6. Can I... Hold on, I'll add plus 3 to this. Okay, let's go.
Yes.
So, plus 3, 25.
Oh my gosh.
Not bad.
Okay. So,
good.
off the
Oh,
back
good.
of that, you learn 3 pieces of lore.
Ah.
So,
Okay.
I believe you had 3 things that you wanted to find out about.
Yeah, so I want to look up specifically on castle designs in Cormyr and find one that might fit the Sharon temple that was in Rena's memory recollection thing. There was a
That's
brief
cool.
description which I think Katya saw, right? The Katya get a actually.
Yeah,
see it.
that's correct. She saw this thing, would have described it in good detail.
Okay. So I bribed the castle's, the citadel's archaeologist, or whatever, map keeper or something, to try and get a plan of this thing.
So, you spend a significant amount of time poring over schematics and blueprints and so on and so forth, like design plans and whatnot. And part of the difficulty is that nothing in Cormyr comes close. Like, there's nothing design-wise similar to Cormyr.
Oh shit.
Your breakthrough
Ah.
is when you broaden your horizons. Specifically, the statues, the hooded statue. They look like old men with long beards, the hood statues. Ancient
Skyrim.
Netherese.
Oh no.
Those
Oh no.
the statues are depictions of the ancient sorcerer kings of Eld, and are used as a common decoration piece throughout Netheril before its fall. Specifically, ancient Netheril.
Alright, hold on, let me just write notes of this. So the statues, what? The statues by the castle?
No. So like the use of the statues as a decoration piece, this is like a relief within the walls. Like instead of just having pillars, having these hooded bearded men as the pillars kind of thing. That is indicative of Netherese architecture.
Okay, but I can't find a location for this castle.
It's just like it would be, effectively you found out that this is like the Netherese version of Art Deco, like.
But you said, but Katya had a description of the castle, right? But okay. Well, I guess the information
A
is just
room.
lost. Okay.
Yeah.
It was a ruin. Sorry.
But you know that whatever room Katya saw through Rena
Yeah.
wasn't Cormyrian.
Oh, it was a
It was
room.
in-
I thought it was
a
like a
room.
I thought it was like a castle that she saw from far away.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
There was a ruin,
that's the one.
but it was a relatively shapeless, nondescript ruin.
Right.
Sorry, yeah. The research that you find is that the vision where Rena and Katya are in a room, in the middle of a room,
Okay.
with all the statues looming over them, that was Netherese.
Okay. Well. All right. Okay, so it's linked to Nether. So there's Sharp. Oh, Shar is linked with Netheril.
You're absolutely correct, Anton, because Shar was the patron deity of Netheril.
Okay. Cool.
Very much so when Netheril returned. It was referred to as returned Netheril for a while. There was ancient Netheril. Basically, stuff went bad. Ancient Netheril was partly destroyed. And really paraphrasing, they ended up casting a spell that made their cities float, and then they teleported themselves into the Shadowfell, like the plane of shadow.
Oh.
They returned to Faerun at the beginning of the Spell Plague. They were referred to as returned Netheril, and it seems that in their time in Shar's domain, they had been imbued with her shadowy powers, and the ruling class of Netheril were named the Shadowvar, and lots of the citizens and civilians and the soldiers of Netheril had become shades, shadow-infused humans, elves, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Became shades.
Yeah. And the shades, the shades had the power of Shar within them. The telltale sign was that their skin had turned like a midnight black. Their eyes were a similar color. They were of her image.
Okay.
And then the spell plague stopped. The second sundering came and went. Mistra's weave was reconstructed, which weakened Shar, and then in a last-ditch effort, Netheril declared war on Cormyr and Cormanthor, and we all know how that story ended.
Okay.
Because it was all an attempt to get at the Mythal underneath Mithranor and use that to rebuild the Shadow Weave, which would have put Shar back as the goddess of magic.
Okay. So my next question, my next question is with regards to Illithids.
Yes.
So, Balthazar would like to know if there are like records of any like major colonies that were discovered, that were found, and also trying to understand a bit more like the structure of Illithid like colonies.
Illithid colonies. They come in all shapes and sizes. Because a community of Illithids you find out from this book ranges from some dozens to like in real bad circumstances some thousands. At the heart of every colony is an elder brain, which is literally a giant brain. That is, and all mind flayers are linked to the brain, and they act as a synaptic hive. Every so often, there'll be in inverted commas a mutation within the mind flayer community, and the mind flayer will be birthed as an Ulitharid, which is like a super mind flayer. So they're bigger, they're more powerful, they're stronger, they're faster, etc., etc. These Ulitharids are independent from the Elder Brain, and whilst the Elder Brains might see them initially as like a bit of a rival, the Ulitharids will eventually leave the colony and create a new colony, transforming into an Elder Brain and spreading.
And any known,
Sorry, go on.
Any known like sightings in Cormyr of mind flayer colonies?
They're in Cormyr. No. Let me think. At this time, a while ago, there are reportings that a mind flayer vessel, which experts have dubbed Nautilids, there was one that was seen flying over I think canonically it was tribal, far to the west on the Sword Coast. A Nautilid materialized above the city, snatched up a load of people, and then vanished. It seemed to be chased by some dragons, and then vanished. If it wasn't tribal, it was actually Baldur's Gate, but the Baldur's Gate 3 cinematic is a bit unclear on which city it was.
Oh yes. Okay. Dope. I'm leaving suggestions.
Hashtag not an ad.
Out of character. If you guys have any suggestions for my third question.
Well, I think you had one more subject.
That's right.
I mean, aren't you going to want to look up Project Implacable?
No. No.
Or the Black Diadem specifically, maybe?
Oh yeah, that could be interesting.
What was the person who that book was originally about? Was that... can't remember what his name was.
Iolam.
Ayulum,
Sorry?
Netherese wizard, invented the
Iolam,
mithril. Yeah.
says Balthazar.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah, what's
that would be quite.
sorry, to finish your question about the Mind Flayers, the colonies will tend to be somewhere very kind of secret and safe, because Mind Flayers are kind of inherently more mobile than other races, given that they can plane shift, they can levitate, they've just got much more freedom of movement. Nautilids, like you'll sometimes find colonies on Nautilids because these are ships that can move about, although thanks to Githyanki and Githzerai raids, Nautilids are rarer and rarer because they're destroyed. They're a real problem if you come across one. So they hunt them down and destroy them.
So I guess my third subject would probably be Githyanki and Githzerai.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to see if there's records of them being in Cormyr, visiting Cormyr. Are they common, and kind of what their deal is.
So there are reports of Githyanki in and around Cormyr throughout the centuries, but the reports are extremely sparse. What you learn, what you find out is that Githyanki live in the Astral Sea, where they don't age. Nothing ages in the Astral Sea. Usually the only times Githyanki come to the material plane is they'll have clutches, so they'll put all their eggs in the material plane, and because time passes normally, it allows the eggs to hatch. The offspring will then grow up on the material plane, and then they'll get scooped up and taken back out to the Astral Sea to become immortal space pirates. Well, ageless space pirates. They try not to spend. They'll come to the material plane to raid, but they don't stick around for long because they get old. They start aging again. The Githyanki themselves are a very kind of violent martial hierarchy, like a martial society. They eschew the values of family in place of like a clan. They'll follow. You may find that the leaders of Githyanki war parties aren't necessarily the oldest, but they might be the most experienced. Githyanki and Githzerai, to that matter, they consider hunting and killing a mind flayer as a rite of passage, which is why Githyanki will go on raids to they'll actively hunt down mind flayers to give their young the opportunity to become adults.
They're just like squid.
Yes. Unfortunately, as rite of passages go, not a particularly high success rate. I don't know if you've seen Alien vs Predator 1, the film, but it works out a bit like that.
Okay. What's the difference between Githyanki and Githzerai?
The Githyanki and Githzerai, the primary difference is a philosophical one. When the Gith were slaves to the Mind Flayers. They eventually managed to overthrow the Mind Flayer oppressors. There were two leaders amongst the GIF. One was called Zereth. There were two leaders that had opposing beliefs. The Githzerai, sorry, the followers of Zerth decided that they would take. They couldn't allow an evil like the Mind Flayer Empire to ever be again, so they kind of drew themselves inwards, whereas the followers that became the Githyanki were very much a case of, well, we're free now, we can do whatever the hell we like. So they became pirates. They were very much a case of, we can, after everything we've been through, we can do what we like.
Okay.
And almost at the drop of a hat, almost as soon as they reclaim their freedom, the two factions, which renamed themselves Githzerai and Githyanki in honor of their respective leaders, became mortal enemies, having wiped out the Mind Flayers, pretty much.
Okay. So basically, both of them hate Mind Flayers.
But now they also hate each other.
Yeah, and they also hate each other.
Yeah, so the Githyanki became martial, the Githzerai became monastic. The Githyanki live in the astral plane. They have an agreement with Tiamat, which allows them the use of young red dragons to aid them in battle.
Oh, wait, hold on. The Githyanki or Githzerai?
Githyanki.
And Azarad is a...
Githzerai.
Oh, so the Githzerai are like the good Gith, and the Githyanki are like the...
The Githzerai are
baddies.
Jedi. The Githzerai are Jedi, and the Githyanki are the Sith.
Okay, gotcha.
Monastic and kill everyone.
Push your feelings down. Love no one.
There can be no attachments.
Okay.
Only the Githyanki deal in absolutes.
Yes. I gotcha. All right. So, the dragons we saw were Githyanki. What's the relationship with dragons? They're just like having
the
dragon
Githyanki have forged a truce, a deal with Tiamat, the goddess of chromatic dragons, and for whatever reason, Tiamat has basically loaned the use of young red dragons to the Githyanki. The scholars in the books you're reading haven't really gotten close enough to find out why that's beneficial for the dragons, but the Githyanki are regularly... The Githyanki knights are trained in the riding of red dragons.
Not scary at all. Okay.
And then when the red dragons get older, they go off and do their own thing, and the Githyanki just get a new clutch of young red dragons in.
Okay. All right. I think that's all my research. Hasn't really progressed us as to what we do next, but at least we have the info now if we need it.
Sure. As you finish, as you kind of put the book down and you're kind of mulling it all over, an old war wizard comes over, and his robes are sun bleached and old and frayed and tattered, and he's got some comfy shoes on, and he just kind of puts some books down, starts putting them back on the shelf, and he turns to you and, did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah. Thanks for the books on the Githyanki. It's alright. I wouldn't have found it without you.
I understand from your friend over there, and he says, pointing at Hiram, that you were doing a bit of soul searching. He said that you were a cleric of Helm, but you don't strike me as a Helmite.
Sure, why not?
He just shrugs, and there's so many gods out there in
in the Pantheon. It would be a shame if you pledged to the wrong one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. I haven't really figured it out yet.
He smiles, and you seem at home here in a library. Does knowledge bring you joy?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like reading books, learning about magic, the origins of magic.
And what were you before you were a follower of Helm?
I guess I worked in an archive, in a library like this one.
So, knowledge and information is it's part of your soul almost. It's your
Maybe.
life.
It's the life I know, I guess.
He the War Wizard thinks for a moment, and like he goes over to a shelf and he kind of pulls out some books. He's just pulling out books at random. Oh no, putting it back. Oh no, oh maybe that one, yes. And he comes over and he stands and he looks at you, and like he's looking at the books, he's looking at you, and you no, and he's just kind of leafing through the books and putting them down. And he gets to the last one, and he looks at it, tilts his head, and he puts the book down on the table in front of you, spins it round, slides it towards you. Give that one a read, old boy. See what you think of that.
Is it Bahamut and you? Because I read that one already.
It's not. Interestingly, Bahamut's only a minor god nowadays. But no. Perhaps... And he just taps the book a couple of times. You might find something enlightening in there.
Balthazar, we'll have a look at the cover.
Okay. Sort of like as you kind of look down at the book, look up, like this old man kind of just straightens his beard out a bit, kind of pulls his fingers through it, smiles at you, and adjusts his hat, and I'll leave you to it, he says. And he turns and leaves, and as you look down at the book and kind of open the tome, because there's no name on the front of the tome, as you open it up on the first page, it says, The Teachings of Azuf. And when you look up, the librarian is gone.
Hey, where did... Oh.
And Hiram, you notice that Balthazar's just kind of peering around, looking a bit confused.
Everything okay there, Balthazar?
Yeah, did you see where that old wizard went?
What old wizard?
You was just here a moment ago. We were speaking.
I didn't see anyone.
Are you dozing off?
No? Are you?
Don't think so. I don't even sleep.
Balthazar, as you turn the second page, you see an illustration of this god, Azuf.
Mm.
And like you look at this long, white-bearded old man with slate grey, blue eyes, big hat. Looks familiar. Not sure where from.
Strange. Guess Balti Boy will read the book cover to cover. Speed read.
Like Johnny Five.
Yeah.
Johnny Five alive. I was just about to say that.
Okay. So Balthazar, as you begin to read through the Tome of Azuf, and with that new knowledge in mind, elsewhere in Suzail, the chamber doors echo as they... the chamber doors glide open as the sounds of heavy footsteps enter the room. Ezred takes a deep breath as he takes the crown from his head, places it on the bust, the featureless bust in front of him, and he shrugs his shoulders as he rolls the cloak, the heavy cloak off his back, off his shoulders, and he takes a seat, a heavy breath escaping him as
He slumps. And there's a voice from behind him that says, "Are you alright, dear?" And he lets out a deep breath.
All of this bloodshed. There are times that I don't even know why we're doing it. Why not just bring Rager to the diplomacy table? She's always had the bloodlust in her, but perhaps we just need to talk to her. I don't want my legacy to be known as Cormyr being a meat grinder for its own citizens.
And he turns to look at the woman that steps out the shadows of his chambers. Her hair pulled up in a bun and wearing a black and yellow dress. And Ursula glides across the floor, places a hand on his shoulder, a finger under his chin. "It's all right, Ezered. Good kings always make the hardest decisions." And she turns her chin to face her directly, and as her eyes light up white, "You have to carry on and do what you must to commend the loyalty of your citizens. You need to find that new crown, my dear. Together, no one will deny your rule," she says. And as Ezered's face kind of goes slack, he comes to and says,
You're right. It's been hard, but we must see this through. We will find the artifact, and then you and I, we will rule Cormyr in peace.
And Ursula smiles. "Of course we will, Ezered dearest."
Ooh,
And we'll call it there.
dear.
Oh no.
Oof.
Well, that bodes well.
Oh no.
Congratulations on completing session 19! Hooray!
Hey.
Huzzah.
Cool. So, we have successfully completed a week of downtime. Only one of you was knocked unconscious, so I consider that a victory. Next week,
Well, technically two, because Drool also fell
that's
unconscious.
true. That is very true. Yes. So next week we will find out where the Warhounds will be going next. Actually, no, that is a lie. Next week we will not be finding out where the Warhounds go next. We're taking a short break, an intermission from Cormyr. We will be back in 2 weeks. However, there will be a video released in place in lieu of session 20. And there'll be more details about that on the channel in due course. So, thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you all later.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Toodaloo. With no one arrested or seriously injured, the Warhounds have survived a week of downtime and arguably find themselves better equipped for the next leg of their journey. Come back next episode to find out where the adventure will take them next. If you like what we're doing here on the channel, please consider liking the video and commenting down below. You can catch the latest episode of Tavern Between Dimensions over on streaming platforms such as Spotify, Amazon Music and Apple Music, as well as weekly segments from that podcast here on the channel. We're working on some non-D&D content which will be released on the channel periodically, so keep an eye out for that. If you're interested in more Explorers of Elsewhere content, you can find another video here. And you should hit the subscribe button here, as well as the bell to be notified of any new releases when they go live. Thank you all for watching, and as always, may the realms endure.